welcome back to the channel. Following on from the last episode where I mentioned about the Varadero. Again, apologies for the change in order of filming. Obviously it's my daily rider. It's been used a lot. I'll take you around the bike in a second, tell you the history of it, etc, etc. But it's had to come in because it has, well, I think it'll be a major job, but I want people's opinions. I've never gone into the Varadero. It's never really gone wrong. I say, apart from obviously, I think I've replaced the regulator rectifier once and a couple of fuel pumps, which is an easy job. Other than that, it's just been basic routine maintenance just to keep it running. But as I say, I'll show you around the bike in a second for those of you who aren't familiar. I haven't actually seen many Varadero videos because they just don't tend to break down, I suppose. But this one is going to be, I think it's going to be a major strip down. I will quickly start it and let you hear the issue. Obviously I don't want to keep it running too long. It did happen on the way home. And it just got really bad. But as I say, I'll run it for a very short amount of time. I don't want to cause any more damage because I know that there is probably a fair amount of damage in there already. But we will be running now the series on the Varadero, so it will be similar to how we did the ST. It will be a complete strip down. Obviously I'm now looking at possibly taking the engine out, stripping the engine down as well. Again, armed with a manual. As I say, I follow these as best I can. They are quite helpful. As I say, this one obviously covers the VTR 1000 Firestorm Super Hawk and the XL1000 V 99 to 08. So again, I haven't done it yet, but similar to what I did with the Z650 with my book with all the fish pictures, this is still the Z stuff in here. I will print off all the fish pictures of all the different bits so I can refer back to it. It is really handy and it's helped me so much, especially with the Z. The ones for the Z I'll still keep, I'll just file them away. But let me give you a brief history of the bike and show you around. Right, so there she is. She's a 2001 XL1000 Varadero. It's the carburettor model, not the fuel injected model. I run the MRA adjustable screen with a deflector as well. Extra spotlights on the front, just so people can see me. So twin headlights, 4 spots. Obviously the crash bars, they've been on there some time, they need some refurb. Still the standard colours as it came from the factory. Obviously these have now seen better days. Grip knee pads. Full givey racking system. I say I've used these quite a lot. I've got the big touring boxes. I haven't really added a great deal. I don't run heated grips, etc. All I've added really is the handlebar brace and a charger, and then obviously the sat-nav mount in the front. I've had this bike now probably 7 years. Picked it up for a really good price. The gentleman before that I bought it from had cherished and loved this bike. It hadn't done a great deal of miles. It had only done 19,000. Don't know if you can see. It's 92,971 miles. So 19,000 when I picked it up, and now just under 93. So it's done some miles. It's toured the country many times. It's done a coastal trip, mostly around Britain. So it has been used, it's been ridden a lot. But as I say, regular maintenance, oil changes, plugs, etc. It does get used and abused. But let me start it up very quickly. I'm not going to run it for long. The problems I had, you'll hear it in a second. A lot of vibration coming from the sprocket, and also from the rear wheel. It was, I don't know if you can see, it was almost doing, the wheel was doing that as I'm sitting on it. So you imagine if you're going forward, and that's what it felt like. Very weird. But let's try and start it very quickly. So as you can hear, that is one hell of a big rattle. And obviously my main question is going to be, is it the actual, where the sprocket is, the main input shaft that goes into the gearbox? Because the gears are running fine. I've got no problem changing gear. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's cylinder. It does sound more down this area. So, I mean, we'll whip this cover off in a second, because I've had this cover off once already, and I'll show you what the front sprocket is doing. Alright, so we'll just pop these bolts out quickly. Right, that just slides off. Well, see, I'm hoping that when I actually come to work on this properly, I can try and get this up on the ABBA stand. You can see the movement in that sprocket. I'll appreciate any of your feedback in the comments box below. I mean, if you've had something similar go, let's say there's a lot of play on that front, which was taking out the back. I mean, it's unfortunate that, as I say, it actually started when I was about 2 miles away from work. I work about 15 miles away from where I live. And I started hearing, I could start to hear this rattle. As I say, that is quite, I mean, I might be wrong, it could be the cylinder, but I won't know until we go in. When I started it, after I'd finished work, it didn't sound too bad. It wasn't as bad as it is now. And obviously I had a 15-mile ride to get back home again, and I think I was probably just over halfway, and the rattle just got worse and worse and worse. didn't seem to have a great deal of power, but could still change through the gears. Gear change was no problem at all. It just seems to be a slowing down of power. I mean, I don't know if you can see, but obviously where it's shaking so much, it's actually scuffed. I'll get a light in on that. Don't think you'll be able to see it. It's actually scuffed the undersides of the links. There's a shining area. So as I say, I'll be interested to hear if anybody else has had this issue. If you own a Varadero and you've come across the same problem, please let me know in the comments box below, or a XL1000 or anything very similar that's got that kind of rattle and the looseness of the front sprocket. It's going to be difficult because obviously the situation that I'm still in, I can't sort of go ahead and buy spares because I just don't have them. I don't have the cash to actually get them, but I need to find out what the issue is before I can obviously spend out, or if it's actually worth spending, because obviously I need to keep bikes on the road, obviously for work at the moment. Obviously, yeah, the ST is back up, running fine, no problems, which is touch wood, which is good. But let me know in the comments box below what your thoughts are, any ideas. Am I correct in thinking that it's the input, well, I call it the input shaft, the main shaft that runs from the front sprocket into the gearbox itself? Try and fill in a few other questions. The oil level is fine, it's not leaking any oil. An oil change was done not that long ago, probably about 1500, 2000 miles ago was an oil change. That was an oil and filter change. That's all been done. The oil level is fine. I'm not losing any oil. It's not smoking. It's just that big rattle at the bottom. Because obviously at first it's like, well, I've thrown a valve. I've got no smoke coming out the back, no white smoke, nothing. Apart from the noise, it's running okay. I did have a loss of power, but then if something's not right inside, that could cause the issue. But say, let me know in the comments box below. I really appreciate all your feedback, all your comments. There's a link in the description as well to my Facebook page. If you want to come across there and speak to me on Facebook, that's fine, I don't mind. But I'd really like to get to grips with what the problem is. I'm going to have to start stripping this bike down, so the next episode we will start the actual strip down. But today is more like a diagnosis of what the possibilities can be. I mean, I've already looked into it. If it is the actual input shaft behind the sprocket, there is a big bearing with a groove round. You cannot, or as far as I'm aware, you cannot get that bearing separately. The bearing on the other side, you can. So I know there's a double bearing with a seal and then the sprocket. So I need to find out. I've had a go at trying to get the sprocket out. It just, at the moment, it just won't shift. So I'll put some more penetrating fluid on that and try and get that loose before the next video, and then we can start stripping the bike down. But as I say, I appreciate all your feedback, all your comments. Keep them coming. Any ideas, I really appreciate it. As I say, link in the description to Facebook, so pop across there if you want to talk to me on there as well. And basically, sort of help at the moment is it's a bit above me, this one. I just can't work out. I think I know roughly, but I need clarification. So if you can help, I'm much appreciated. But as I say, we'll carry on with the strip down in the next episode and start going through and see what we can sort out, see what the problems are. While it's all apart, I may as well get all the carbs out, strip them down, give them a clean through, and then see where we go from there. But it's something I really don't need at the moment, but it's got to be addressed. It's a problem that's come up. It has to be sorted. So we're going to go through it. As I say, I haven't seen any Varadero videos well, apart from people riding them, actual mechanics and problem solving at all. So hopefully this might help a lot of people, including myself, if I can get some feedback. But say, next episode we'll start the strip down. There are links to other videos top left and top right, normally a best for viewer and a playlist. And join me again next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.